Welcome to the Explainer. So, most of us know the story of Noah's Ark, right? But have you ever stopped to think about what happened after the water receded? We're about to dive into a really fascinating sermon that looks at this ancient story in a whole new way and finds a powerful message for today.
Right. The flood is over. Now what? The sermon we're looking at argues that the real meaning of the story isn't actually about the flood. It's about the brand new world that came after. So what did that new world even look like?
The sermon kicks off by zooming in on God's very first words to Noah in this new world. And what's so amazing is they sound really familiar. In fact, they echo the very first moments of creation itself. Now, this isn't just an order, it's a blessing. The sermon calls this moment a recreation, like a complete system reboot for the entire planet. It's a fresh start. And just like the first time around, it all begins with this powerful, life-giving blessing. Okay, but here's the thing. This new world is not just a carbon copy of the old one. The sermon points out that the rules for living have fundamentally changed, and it creates a whole new dynamic between humans and the natural world forever. So check this out. Before the flood, humanity's diet was totally plant-based. But now, for the very first time, people are allowed to eat animals. And this one change, which might seem small, introduces a brand new tension, fear, into the relationship between humans and animals. The whole ecosystem shifts.
Now, even though the flood wiped the slate clean, human nature is still, it's still flawed. The sermon explains that since God has promised he won't intervene with another flood, a new rule is needed to manage violence. Humanity is basically given a new framework to handle its own messes.
And this is where the sermon's take gets really interesting. We often hear an eye for an eye and think of revenge, right? Like you hurt me, I hurt you back. But the sermon says no, that's not it. It's not a license for revenge, it's a limit. It's meant to stop the endless cycles of violence. It's saying only one for one, to prevent retaliation from spiraling completely out of control.
So we've got new rules for humanity, but the sermon then shifts focus to something much, much bigger. A universal promise that God makes to the entire planet and everything on it.
Just look at the scope of this thing. It's incredible. The sermon really emphasizes how unique this is. This promise, this covenant, it's not just with Noah's family or even all of humanity. It's a promise made to every single living thing, from the birds in the sky to all the animals on the ground. And what's the sign of this promise? The rainbow. It's presented as this universal, perpetual reminder that anyone, anywhere in the world, can see. It's a visual cue of God's unbreakable promise to never again destroy all life with a flood.
Okay, this is it. This is where we get to the absolute core of the sermon's message. It's an idea that really reframes everything we've just talked about, and it's all captured in one powerful phrase.
The sermon introduces this Japanese phrase, hakaku no shukufuku. It translates to an exceptional or unconditional blessing. And what does that mean? It means it's a blessing you don't have to earn. It's not a reward for good behavior. It just is. It's a given.
So the first big takeaway is that this new world operates on a completely different principle, unconditional love. The blessing is there whether we are good or bad, whether we succeed or fail. It's now a fundamental condition of existence in this post-flood world. And the sermon connects this idea directly to the teachings of Jesus, showing that this wasn't some new idea. It's a foundational truth. Think about it. The sun rises on everyone, the rain falls on everyone, no questions asked. That right there is the nature of this exceptional blessing.
So what does this unconditional blessing actually mean for our own lives, day to day? Well, the sermon suggests it completely changes how we view our personal journeys, especially when things get tough or we take a wrong turn.
Here's the second big takeaway. This blessing isn't tied to our success. So even if your path is full of struggle, even if you feel totally lost or like you've completely failed, that promise of blessing is still there. It's not about arriving at the perfect destination. It's about knowing the entire journey is held within that unconditional promise. To really drive this home, the sermon pulls in other scriptures. The blessing isn't about preventing hardship. It's about making a way forward, even when it feels like there is no way. It's the promise that, even in the middle of a wasteland, a river can appear. In the middle of a trial, a path of escape can be found.
So, when you look at it this way, the sermon completely reframes the whole Noah story. The focus isn't on the memory of God's judgment in the past. It's about the present reality of his permanent, unconditional blessing for all of creation. It's like the world got a new operating system, built on grace.
And that leaves us with one final thought to really chew on.
What would change for you, for me, for all of us, if we really started to see our world not through a lens of performance and judgment, but through the lens of this exceptional, unconditional blessing? What if grace, not judgment, is the fundamental rule of the game?